This is the Convene podcast. My name is Maggie, Digital Media Editor. This episode is brought to you by Visit Phoenix. Our usual approach to Convene's annual industry forecast is to cast a wide net, gathering a variety of data related to the business events industry, including travel, lodging, technology, and the workplace. This year, we took a different tack. Instead of those wide-ranging forecasts, Convene editors wrote succinct trends reports for each sector. We've sifted through the research to come up with a few signposts to help you navigate the year ahead, whatever course it takes. Annual Events Industry Forecast. Written and read by the Convene editors. Event Attendees as Consumers First by digital editor Kurt Wagner.
While researching business event trends for 2025, I kept going back to a few phrases I've seen over and over again. Being intentional, human connection, and meaningful interactions. These sentiments reflect a larger continuing trend in society overall. Coming out of the pandemic, according to global marketing consulting firm Mintel's 2025 Global Consumer Trends Report, consumers have expressed an eagerness to seek connection with purpose. Social groups have become a necessary part, the report adds, of how people plan for the future. Given the complexity of big issues facing us, like global warming, it's neither logical nor desirable to tackle them alone. But consumers, aka attendees, have higher expectations when they gather together. One of the 5 biggest business trends a Forbes story predicts for 2025 is a focus on customer experience. Businesses that excel in delivering friction-free, hyper-personalized, and memorable experiences will find they are well-positioned to rise above the competition, Forbes writes. Consumers expect businesses to meet them where they are with service that's tailored to their needs. As consumers, meeting attendees are expecting more personalized, intimate, and human-focused gatherings. This desire is driving a rise in small, highly focused micro-events that provide tailored experiences specific to fewer than 50 attendees, according to another Forbes story, offering attendees a more intimate setting that fosters genuine connections and interactions. And because these events are local or regional, they reach attendees where they are, resulting in smaller carbon footprints. This approach also can be taken in tandem with a larger event. For example, for the American Geophysical Union's 2023 annual meeting last December in San Francisco, a virtual hub in Zurich, Switzerland, combined remote presentations and in-person viewing groups to reduce travel while enabling in-person interactions. 68 individuals registered for the event. Another way organizers can leverage consumer trends is to ensure that their events align with their attendees' values. Consumers are increasingly purchasing brands that are compatible with their values and priorities. Depending on what consumer marketing survey one reads, anywhere from 60% to 85% of respondents consider sustainability when they make a purchase. But those brands and events must deliver on their promises. According to the Mintel report, consumers are seeking brands that support and elevate their lives on a functional level, more than vague corporate social responsibility claims that don't translate to solutions. Nearly half of the 519 meeting professionals across North America, Latin America, Europe, and Asia Pacific surveyed for the 14th Global Forecast for Amex GBT meetings and events are making good on CSR claims. They are implementing a sustainable meetings and events policy, prioritizing waste management practices, and choosing food and beverage options that are better for the planet. By focusing on these efforts, events are showing their stakeholders that they are paying attention to what matters to them.
Meeting and Event Destination Dupes by Senior Editor Jennifer N. Dienst.
Across many recent forecasts, the one consistent trend I see for 2025 is that the appetite for in-person gatherings will be stronger than ever. Demand for groups, meetings, and events, M&E, has been extremely robust across the globe, according to the CWT GBTA 2025 Global Business Travel Forecast. There is still a pent-up need to connect with colleagues, customers, and business partners post-pandemic, the report said. GBTA's research indicates that business travel spending will exceed 2019 levels in 2024 at $1.5 trillion, representing an increase of 11% over last year. Growth is expected to continue to gradually moderate, resulting in an annual compound growth rate of 7% from 2025 to 2028. But due to many variables and shifts, from rising travel costs to road warriors prioritizing their physical and mental well-being post-COVID and weighing the environmental impact of their travel, we can expect to see some interesting changes in travel patterns ahead. Data shows that business travelers are increasingly eschewing one-day business trips in favor of 3 to 5 day trips that feel more thoughtful and productive, said GBTA CEO Suzanne Newfang. This preference for a roomier window of time means we'll likely see the continuation of another trend we already know and love, leisure travel. Similar vibes. Next year and beyond will also bring shifts in where we're traveling to for meetings and events, namely that planners will increasingly look to second and third-tier destinations as alternatives in an effort to economize, while also balancing attendee expectations. According to the 14th Global Forecast from the Amex GBT Meetings and Events Report, meeting professionals say that the host destination makes up 1/4 of the overall attendee experience. This mirrors an ongoing trend, coined destination dupes, happening on the leisure side, essentially swapping a traditionally popular travel destination for a less obvious and less expensive alternative, say Montreal over Paris. And less crowded. Over the summer, thousands of locals turned up in several European tourism hotspots like Barcelona to protest tourists taking over their cities. New fees and taxes to counter over-tourism are being introduced, but many doubt they can stymie the crowds, especially when forecasts estimate that visitor numbers will continue to rise in popular destinations in 2025. As a result, the destination dupes trend will likely keep growing. While it may feel like a fresh idea to leisure travelers, event professionals have long taken advantage of the budget-friendly perks of meeting in lower-tiered cities. CWT recommends that planners seek out secondary cities for meetings and events that now have low demand, adding this provision: booking early is essential.
The rise of humans in an AI world. And will event tech costs fuel low-tech options? By Deputy Editor Barbara Palmer.
In November 2022, OpenAI released the first version of ChatGPT to the public. It opened the floodgates of AI-generated content, as well as the use of natural language processing to analyze large amounts of data. Since then, as fears that generative AI would make them obsolete have subsided, many planners began experimenting with and embracing the myriad ways that AI can help them do their jobs better. 2 years in, there's another conversation on the rise. What humans can do that AI can't? AI can't build connections or facilitate amazing experiences, Matthew Sweezy, the Chief Strategy Officer at Smart Token Labs, told Marketing Companion podcast host, futurist Mark Schaefer. AI can't build a deeper level of trust, Sweezy told Schaefer. It has to be human. AI can't take that on. But AI can assist. Using AI to make connections between meeting participants and event sponsors is the top way that meeting professionals say they plan to use AI. That's according to the 14th Global Forecast from Amex GPT Meetings and Events. In an increasingly AI-driven world, the report noted, we're also seeing a strong desire for human connection, with rising demand for face-to-face experiences. What's also on the rise is the understanding that it is meeting professionals' own judgment and creativity that will drive the best AI-assisted outcomes. In fact, a 2022 study found that human confidence was one of the best predictors of good outcomes in decisions made with the help of AI. Too little self-confidence can result in over-reliance on AI. And after experimenting with using AI to help her write drafts of promotional emails for a client, Valerie Sumner, co-owner of VRS Meetings and Events, told Convene she realized that what AI-generated content was missing was her own voice. More than half, or 57%, of the content on the internet today is either AI-generated or translated using an AI algorithm, according to research released last summer by Amazon Web Services AI Labs. As AI-generated content continues to accelerate, the uniquely human stamp that meeting professionals place on their work will increasingly be valued. Taste is becoming more and more important in this age of so much being algorithmic, with so much being served up to you by AI. That's according to Ezra Klein, host of the New York Times Ezra Klein Show podcast. Klein was talking about editing, a set of skills that is analogous to event organizers' expertise in curating and creating content. Knowing what you like, what you think is good, what you think is bad, what you respond to, that really matters, Klein said. That's a way to maintain both humanity and the capacity to do great things. LinkedIn's AI echo chamber. Relying too heavily on AI tools to create LinkedIn posts can backfire, warns the report LinkedIn Algorithms Insights 2024, which was published on LinkedIn. The same hooks that are used to begin posts appear 16 times more frequently in AI-generated posts, and the same calls to action used to end posts appeared 11 times more often, resulting, the report said, in a 55% drop in engagement and a 60% lower click-through rate compared to original content. Will event tech costs fuel low-tech options? A little more than half of meeting organizers surveyed in Freeman's 2024 Organizer Trends report considered technology, including apps and digital displays, to be the top experiential element at meetings. And although attendees also ranked technology highly, 44% chose it as the leading experiential element, many more of them, 64%, put immersive experiences at the top of the list. One factor behind the gap is the fact that more event participants now take it for granted that technology will be embedded in their everyday lives, including events, compared to earlier generations of meeting attendees, said Ken Holsiger, Freeman's Senior Vice President of Strategy and Research. In 5 years, 3/4 of meeting attendees will be millennials and Gen Z, for whom using their phones to check in at meetings and hotels, using apps to navigate meeting agendas and find their way around, and asking chatbots for help, that's second nature. To help planners create more immersive experiences, a growing number of convention centers have added digital resources, including large-scale LED walls. Last year, for example, Austria Center Vienna unveiled the Polystage, a flexible 3,300 square foot video display made up of 52 LED panels, combined with an LED banner, 2 LED sidewalls, and spatial audio display. But for planners that are already challenged by rising technology costs, the demands to create the kinds of high-tech, awe-inducing spectacles that bring collective gasps from their audiences could stretch their budgets to the limit. One trend that could take the pressure off is a surge in creative, yet low-tech immersive experiences at conferences. One trend that could take the pressure off is a surge in creative, yet low-tech immersive experiences at conferences. Some notable examples include local musicians who turned meeting participants into an emotional a cappella choir at the opening keynote at Convening EMEA 2023 in Copenhagen, and the workshops led by Marc Forget, a French Algonquin member of the Apatipi Anasanomic Nation in northeastern Ontario, Canada, who tells stories designed to increase understanding of Indigenous history as participants make moccasins. And at a session last May at the Business and Creativity Conference C2 Montreal, participants talked about their experiences with neurodiversity while making lasagna.
Help and leisure time wanted. And An Eye on AI and the Planet by Managing Editor Casey Gale.
If you think the post-COVID hotel staffing shortage is getting better, think again. According to an American Hotel and Lodging Association AHLA study from May 2024, more than three-quarters, 76%, of surveyed hotels reported staffing shortages, with 13% noting the shortage was severe. And this is an increase from earlier in the year, when 67% of hoteliers indicated they were understaffed and 12% called the gap severe. What's happening? A report from Focusrite by Northstar cites a decline in college enrollment in recent years, and among those who do aspire to a secondary education, fewer are choosing careers in hospitality, the report said. Reasons vary, but concerns about long hours, low pay, and lack of remote work options have prompted many prospects to focus on other sectors. For those who have chosen to pursue hospitality, mentorship opportunities can be limited. Following the pandemic, many of the most experienced executives have moved on to other hotel companies, formed consulting practices of their own, or retired. The ongoing hospitality talent crisis continues to make it challenging for event organizers to work with their host hotels throughout the planning process due to a lack of responsiveness, something that keeps 41% of planners awake at night, according to Development Counselors International's DCI most recent Insights report. The other trend that kept reappearing as I looked into lodging data, bleisure, is more on the positive side. While not an unfamiliar phenomenon for planners, the practice of tacking time onto business travel has accelerated post-COVID, especially among millennials. A whopping 67% of bleisure trips begin with a conference on the itinerary, meaning the event organizers need to pay close attention to the hotels they partner with and the quality of the experience from the attendee's perspective, from housekeeping to the level of service they receive throughout their stay. Continued interest in combining business with pleasure makes destination and accommodation selection more critical than ever before. One upside to these hospitality shifts that I noted, technology continues to advance in ways that allow already existing staff members to focus more on human interaction. According to Europe-based software company Muse, hoteliers now rely on artificial intelligence to help with repetitive tasks and answer frequently asked questions that would otherwise tie up busy staff members, while hotel apps allow customers to manage their own booking, make payments, and check in and out on their own. But Focusrite cautions that this is not a permanent solution to the continuing talent shortage. Even though technology is making hotels more efficient, the report said, there are still expectations of service, quality, and innovation that can only be met with a dedicated and well-trained team in place. Group business travel recovery. Leisure demand is slowing, but group and business travel demand is growing to pre-pandemic levels. Group RevPAR rose more than 10% year over year, led by strong demand for corporate and social meetings and events. For the full year, group position is up 10% over last year, with position up mid-teens over the next several years, Chris Nassetta, President and CEO of Hilton, said of the brand's Q2 2024 performance. According to CoStar, it was the same story for other brands. Marriott International reported that worldwide group revenues were pacing up 9% year over year at the end of the second quarter. Joan Bottarini, Hyatt Hotels CFO, also credited system-wide RevPAR gains to business and group travel. Leisure and business travel, fast facts. Nearly 8 out of 10 leisure travelers state they volunteer more frequently for business trips where they can extend and enjoy some vacation time. U.S. business travelers take more than 405 million long-haul business trips annually and are adding vacation time to around 60% of those trips. 41% of travel managers have noted a rise in colleagues asking to add a longer stay to their work trips for leisure purposes. Record-setting hotel pipeline. The Q2 2024 Global Construction Pipeline Trend Report from Lodging Econometrics shows the total pipeline hit record highs, rising 6% by projects year over year and 4% by rooms. Upper mid-scale, upscale, and mid-scale chains dominated the pipeline at Q2, accounting for 65% of projects in the total pipeline. The U.S. accounts for 39% of projects in the global pipeline. Rising costs, higher expectations. According to accommodation booking company Hotel Hub, the average room rate in key business travel destinations around the globe during the second quarter of 2024 increased by nearly 4% compared to the previous year, a significant slowdown from the nearly 10% increase over the same period in 2023. European cities saw an average nightly rate of $176, while at $218 per night, North America remained the most expensive region. J.D. Power noted that nearly every traveler in the hotel price bracket is paying more for a hotel room. Are hotels living up to their expectations, giving those higher rates? STR Tourism Economics maintained 2024-2025 U.S. hotel forecast. STR and Tourism Economics' latest hotel forecast reveals that RevPAR growth will remain concentrated in upper-tier chains, with upscale, upper upscale, and upper mid-scale hotels expected to have the most year-over-year gains in 2025. Economic growth is expected to be slower next year, but we anticipate a favorable context for moderate travel growth, said Aaron Ryan, Director of Industry Studies at Tourism Economics. Further gains in international inbound travel, as well as in business and group travel, are expected to help support lodging demand growth next year. An eye on AI and the planet. It doesn't take the most tech-savvy person to recognize the biggest trend for the future of work for event organizers, AI. It's not even the future, it's already here. In January 2024, a white paper commissioned by the Hague and Partners Convention Bureau and Ottawa Tourism surveyed 100 association planners and found that 63% of associations and not-for-profits were already using AI in event organizing. Even though they were working with limited knowledge, 85% had no budget for AI training at the time, showing a desire to learn on the job in the name of efficiency. Global DMC Partners, GDP, published a Q3 meetings and events survey that showed how AI adoption among meeting planners has grown in the last year, with nearly half of planners now using these tools in their day-to-day work, as opposed to only 3 out of 10 at the end of 2023. Planners reported using AI for a number of tasks. 84% used chatbots like ChatGPT and Copilot to aid in their work, while 44% used grammar checkers and rewording tools like Grammarly to sharpen their writing. Respondents highlighted using AI, the report said, for content improvement, venue selection, and marketing support. As AI's capabilities grow, so too will planners' use for it in everyday work. For now, many of us think of it for limited uses, compiling Google searches, organizing data, and enhancing content creation. But we're seeing use cases among planners expand to include tasks like attendee acquisition and next-gen engagement. Sustainability skills. The future of work across industries and professions not only requires AI proficiency, but an understanding of how to meet the challenges of global warming. Employer demand for green talent, professional skills that will help combat climate change, is on the rise across industries, according to a recent study from LinkedIn. From 2023 to 2024, global demand for green talent grew by nearly 12%, but supply only grew by 6%. This disparity means that the green talent gap is not only growing, but accelerating, according to the report. Globally, job seekers with green skills have a 55% higher hiring rate compared to the workforce overall. What about green skills in the event industry? According to GDP's Q3 Meetings and Events Survey, fewer than half of North American planners incorporated sustainability elements all or most of the time in their events, versus more than 3/4 of international planners. This reflected a wider gap between North American and international planners than in previous GDP surveys, indicating a growing emphasis on sustainability for international planners. Meeting planner employment on the rise. Employment of meeting, convention, and event planners is projected to grow 7% from 2023 to 2033, faster than the average for all occupations. Approximately 16,500 openings for meeting, convention, and event planners are projected each year over the next decade, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Higher budgets at last. Since the pandemic, meeting professionals have struggled with significant budgetary constraints, made even more challenging when dealing with inflation. But according to a recent global study from Amex GPT of more than 500 meeting professionals, 66% of planners say spend is growing. The fight against inflation also continues, with 2 out of 5 respondents indicating they changed their destination or lodging to accommodate cost increases, the same number holding more virtual meetings, and 29% holding fewer meetings overall.
We want to thank our sponsor, Visit Phoenix. To learn more about them and the intriguing tagline, "The desert made us do it," go to visitphoenix.com/meetings. As usual, you'll find all the links in the show notes. If you enjoyed this episode, do give us a 5-star review and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. For more industry insights, visit pcma.org/convene. Stay inspired keep inspiring, and until next time.